Alex, thanks for joining us. Before we talk about Agent Max today, and what I think is like revolutionary technology with your SnuggleFi rebalancing, I just want everyone to know who you are. Many people know your name, YaBonks, but from X, YouTube, the Underdog Investment Group, all of that, but they don't know the builder behind the name. So tell us what led you, kind of your background story, led you into crypto, maybe even your engineering background, or what led you into crypto and eventually the DeFi space.
Sure. And thank you, first off, Kevin, for having me on your show and doing this interview with me. I'm honored to be here. And yeah, as you said, I'm known online as YaBonks. My name's Alex Walsh. Everyone calls me YaBonks. And I started in crypto back in about 2014. I had heard about crypto in senior year of college. I was in computer science and engineering school, and I heard some people talking about Bitcoin in like 2011, and I just kind of wrote it off and kept studying for final exams. I wish I would have listened to them and bought $100 worth. I'd probably be a billionaire by now.
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah, and then 2014 came around, and I really started learning about our fiat currency system and how the monetary system works, not just in the United States, but globally with central banking, and how since the Federal Reserve became a thing around 1913 in the United States, and they started, printing more dollars and inflating the currency supply and depreciating the value of our dollars as a really, it's kind of an insidious form of taxation, among other things. And
Yeah, the silent tax.
the silent tax, everything becomes more expensive and your earnings don't keep up with it. And then you have to pay higher taxes and these higher dollar amounts for everything, like the price of your home, property taxes, income tax, you name it. Income tax started around then as well as part of that. So things really changed then. And then when we lost the gold backing for our currency, the bottom kind of fell out for the value of the dollar. And since the 70s, it has dropped precipitously, like 95+% in purchasing power compared to what it was back then. So they've printed so many dollars into existence, and now it's easy. They just press a few buttons and boom, there's another $1 trillion added to the monetary system. And then that inflates everything. Now, when I started learning about that,
I'll cut that out, but yeah, sorry, my speaker just fell.
that's okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to break your flow because that was good stuff.
Well, yeah. So when I started learning about inflation and the printing of dollars and how that all works, I got upset, as any citizen should. And I was like, what am I going to do about it? So first I became a gold and silver bug, the natural progression of that. I'm looking for harder assets, more sound money. And then I realized how illiquid gold and silver are and how hard it is to deal in such things in our modern society. You can't really go to the grocery store with a gold doubloon and buy your groceries. So that stuff's great for long-term savings, zombie apocalypse, keeping some in a vault somewhere for a rainy day to hold your value, especially against the dollar. But then the next evolution of sound money was Bitcoin. And I really dug into the white paper and the technology behind it, the decentralized network aspect of it. And as a software engineer, that really rang true to me as the way to go. The proof of work concept, everything that makes it the hardest form of money we've ever seen, with 21 million Bitcoin ever to exist. And it's just only deflating as people lose their keys, send it to wrong addresses, that Bitcoin's basically out of the circulating supply forever. So over time, what happens is you have a growing demand for this extremely hard asset, which they can't print any more of. And because of supply and demand, and you're a teacher of economics,
Oh yeah.
Supply and demand, the less supply and the more demand means price goes up. So I saw Bitcoin not only as a long-term potential solution to maintaining the value and my net worth that I worked so hard for, grinding every day as a software engineer in windowless cubicles, writing code for corporations. And I'm like, I need to save some of this. Every year, my dollars in the bank become worth less. I can buy less with those dollars. But with Bitcoin, we saw the exact opposite happen. Bitcoin just went parabolic over the last decade or more, last 15 years. And it just, as the way I see it, it just absorbs all of that fiat currency into it. And in dollar terms, Bitcoin is just going to keep exponentially going up. Now, of course, it's going to chop with the volatility of the crypto market. But
Hey, it's the traders that love the volatility of this market, and the few that I know that I actually think are really good at it, they would argue that a lot. In fact, those are the same guys that are like, I liked it better.
Yeah.
Back in 2017.
Yeah. I mean,
which was before my time, but
it would go up 20% one day and be back down 20% the next day. And then it would do that like every couple of weeks. Traders loved it. And I love it as a market maker. So as somebody who provides liquidity on these assets, I facilitate these markets and I earn a fee every time somebody swaps or trades between, let's say, Bitcoin and US dollars. I earn a little bit of that. And I park my assets in these liquidity pools and I just accumulate the fees as a market maker, the same way that the market makers work in the stock market and other places, slightly different on the technical side of things, but same concept overall. We facilitate the trades and we are compensated for providing that liquidity, which makes these markets possible. And that leads me to answering your next question that you asked me about Snuggle. And that's basically why I developed Snuggle. I was looking for a more capital efficient way to do liquidity provisioning on the blockchain using the manual Snuggle rebalancing technique that I had been teaching for years, as you know, in the Underdog Investor Group, UIG. I've been part of the Crypto Labs research team for a long time. And Snuggle was born out of me teaching this technique, which is the most capital efficient way to do it. I taught it to thousands of people, hundreds of people in a one-on-one setting, deploying tens of millions of dollars into liquidity positions with those people. And when it came time to rebalance those concentrated liquidity positions, it always came down to the advanced manual Snuggle rebalancing technique to do it, to save them on the swap fees, the slippage, the price impact, the MEV exposure, and drastically reduce impermanent loss by about 50%. And you are actually one of the first published authors on Snuggle rebalancing back in 2024 on DADSDeFiSpace.org. That's the correct website, right?
Oh yes. And honestly, it was probably after one of your presentations that you gave within the UIG back during that time. I mean, I'm still a member, but
yes,
I was a lot more active in my early days than I am today. But would you argue to say that, like, based off everything that I just heard from you, like Bitcoin is the foundation? The
absolutely.
Foundation of okay.
Yeah, I think so. In terms of decentralization, proof of work, and then the next evolution of that with basically computing on chain with Solidity smart contracts in the Ethereum virtual machine. So once Ethereum was born, it gave us a way to write programs on the blockchain versus just using Bitcoin as a way to transact monetarily. So Bitcoin's fantastic for maintaining value is the hardest form of money ever, and transacting that value instantaneously. It's very liquid. I can send you Bitcoin across the world instantly. And let's say the government cracks down and goes absolutely nuts. Let's say World War II, Germany. People were trying to smuggle their gold out of the country, their family's wealth, their legacy, all their hard-earned time and money stored in gold, which is a very hard form of money, a great store of value, but very hard to transport, very hard to sneak across the border if you get patted down, and it's very heavy. So when you think about situations like that, it makes you see how impractical gold is in certain situations, silver even more so. And that's why Bitcoin was so genius for transacting that hard, sound money in a very liquid manner that is cross-border, instantaneous, outside of the reach of governments. And
No, I think people forget about the immutable aspect of Bitcoin sometimes.
yes, it's beautiful because they can't confiscate your Bitcoin out of your cold wallet, your wallet in general, like they can with dollars in the bank. I mean, we saw in the last decade, the country of Greece literally went into citizens' bank accounts when their economy was having issues, and they literally just took people's money and used it for their own purposes, and these people had no defense against this. Or in Canada, when the truckers were on strike over the COVID stuff, those people had their bank accounts frozen by the government because they weren't falling in line politically with the narrative at the time that the government that was in power at that time was pushing. And regardless of your political stance, the fact that the government was able to pause people's financial lives and just shut down their access to banking solely based on where they stood on the political spectrum was eye-opening and shocking. And what people did was they donated to those truckers in Bitcoin. They would literally give them envelopes, hand it to them in their truck, and in that envelope would be a hardware wallet with Bitcoin on it that they could then use in a roundabout way to go buy their groceries or pay their rent somehow. They could go to a cash machine, a Bitcoin ATM, get cash out and pay their landlord and prevent themselves from getting evicted.
Right.
So that's why Bitcoin, the immutability, like you said, is so important. And then Ethereum has those same properties, immutability, but also then allows you to write programs on the blockchain to do a lot of really cool stuff, like what I've done with Snuggle. Also creating escrow contracts if you want to facilitate a deal between two parties. All sorts of really cool things that we've seen over the past few years. There's a million different use cases now and thousands of new blockchain networks based on these same core principles. So yeah, man, I love crypto.
Smart contracts kind of opened up the door.
Yeah.
But curious, what problems in DeFi frustrate you the most, and how did that lead to SnuggleFi? I've already had conversations with you where, it part of the reason I got so interested in what you were building is when you said, I built this to solve a problem I had myself.
Yeah.
That's real utility. When I hear a builder say that, I'm now already interested no matter what the project is.
Yeah, and that's a great question. So the problem that I was facing was the amount of time and energy that I was expending managing just a handful of blue chip concentrated liquidity positions, which on the surface doesn't sound like it would be that much work. But as you know, even just managing a couple positions can take you hours a week. I was spending 5, maybe even closer to 10 hours a week hemming and hawing over my positions. Should I rebalance now? And when I did come to the decision to rebalance them, I did the same exact thing every single time. I snuggle rebalanced, and I did it manually. So manually snuggle rebalancing took me about 10 hours a week for just like 3 or 4 blue chip positions at a time. And this was every single week on top of all my other duties. I'm a software engineer. I'm a senior software engineer. I've been building DeFi Buddy for the last year. I've got other
which I use,
contracts.
and some of my followers do also. It's an excellent product.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We're over 7,000 users now. And then I've got other contracts. Like I'm a contract software engineer, so I've got multiple contracts going at any one time. I've got a family. That 10 hours a week is so valuable to me that I wanted that time back. And I saw the problem. I'm like, look, I'm doing the exact same thing, the exact same operation, clicking the same buttons every single week on the same positions, just snuggle rebalancing them back and forth after a certain amount of time has gone by, after they've gone out of range. And I said to myself, I can automate that on the blockchain. I'm a software engineer. I've been auditing Solidity contracts for years on my YouTube channel, the YaBonks channel. I've been interviewing founders and developers, going through their code with them. I've written quite a few smart contracts myself for doing different things, arbitrage bots, MEV bots, just things I've played around with. And writing the Snuggle contracts allowed me to automate my concentrated liquidity position management using Snuggle rebalancing, which is the most capital efficient way to do it. And I even put in a few extra features like the time delay setting. So I used to wait 24 hours before Snuggle rebalancing. Boom, I programmed that in. I also like compounding a portion of my rewards. I would usually take half of my LP fees that I've earned, and I would put it back into my principal to offset impermanent loss and compound the assets. And then I would take the other half and go spend it on my lifestyle. I would go buy stuff. Oftentimes I just go buy more crypto.
I have that problem too.
Yeah. So I automated that entire thing. That's how SnuggleFi was born. And then later MAXFi.tech for all the degens who like all the meme coin pools, the more speculative altcoin positions. So and those are the exact same smart contracts, SnuggleFi and MAXFi. It's the exact same thing. I run all the smart contracts on both of them. And it was wild. Like you said, when you build something to solve a problem that you're actually facing, that other people are facing too, the growth is explosive. Just through word of mouth alone, in 30 days, we hit over $1 million TVL. Over
That was
$1 million.
about the time I heard of your all's project, and yeah, it's been explosive since then. Absolutely,
it has been. And I just want to give again kudos to you for being so ahead of things and on the frontier of DeFi that you were writing about Snuggle rebalancing. Like if you go do a deep search on Google for Snuggle rebalancing, something I've taught for years, you are, I believe, the first published author in the entire world on the technique itself. This was only taught in private investor groups like the UIG, where large investors are seeking professional help to manage their liquidity positions. Yeah. And you wrote very eloquently about it. And I read that article many times, dude, many times.
I appreciate that. I do. I mean, that was many years ago. And it goes back to the days that I learned best by writing. I write.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. So I wanted to learn DeFi, so I start writing about DeFi, but those same methods came from the UIG. If it wasn't you, there was someone else who wrote an article about it. I remember reading it and thinking, this is exactly what I've been doing. It's like I've been trying to learn how to yield farm, provide liquidity, and just, hey, if I go out of range, what do I do? And I started thinking like, hey, if I go out of the range on the upside, I've made profit. Yeah. So I probably should keep some of that profit. That's what I do with everything else. So I need to do it with this also. It took me a little while to learn that. I mean, I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
But then after that, I started realizing, but what I have left over, I can also get more yield off that. And again, that was another concept from UIG, which was yield on yield on yield,
Yeah.
which can be applied different ways in DeFi. But I really don't use very many other rebalancing methods in this unless I'm establishing like a brand new position that of assets I don't have at all.
Yes, exactly. And that's usually the way I do it too. I might do one swap in the beginning. So I have both assets 50-50, double side deposit it into Snuggle or MaxFi. And then I just let the system take over, and it just spits out money to my wallet and compounds the other half into the positions to keep them healthy or growing. And it's just been so useful to me. It saved me so much time that I can spend focusing on other things like building cool stuff or spending time with my family. Those are my two favorite things to do. And that time is there's really at this point no amount of money that, you know, the time is just invaluable. Let's just say that. So that 5 to 10 hours a week, every single week, now my entire LP portfolio is on autopilot. And it's made my quality of life go up so much.
Well, I mean, that's a massive, massive value proposition. And, you know, personally, I think your SnuggleFi technology may be like one of the most important innovations I have seen in the DeFi space. Like I've been in the DeFi space since 2020. So, or no, not 2020, excuse me, 2021.
Okay.
But I don't think many people yet understand what you're building. I don't. And I remember variations of all the concepts we've talked about. And I've even created many, many positions. Hold on a second. I don't even like this part. I'm not going to use this. So,
Okay.
no. I am going to use this though. All right. Just put this because I'll cut it out and I'll add it into the other part. Now, Alex, could you explain SnuggleFi like in the simplest terms possible? Simplest terms, like for like, even when I started in DeFi, I had been, you know, trading meme coins on Solana dexes and stuff like that. But like, how would you explain it to someone who has only bought crypto on Coinbase or Kraken or whatever exchange of their choice?
So very simply, you can earn passive income in an automated manner on liquidity pools in the most capital efficient way possible. You can earn money while you're sleeping. You can earn money while you're working out. You can earn money while you're working your other job. It's a way to set it and forget it. Just let the system do its thing. It does it in the most capital efficient way possible. And there you go. It's automated, concentrated liquidity management. It's one of the true ways to earn real yield out here in DeFi and crypto. As we all know, and if you've been here in the space since 2021, you've probably seen so many Ponzi's, so many scams that the first few weeks are amazing, but they always turn out to be like a Ponzi scheme, and then everybody gets rugged. And after enough time in the space, everybody gravitates towards liquidity provisioning because it's not a Ponzi. It's actual real yield as a market maker. You put up your liquidity and you earn every time someone swaps in that pool. They trade the tokens, you earn a fraction of a percent. After tens of thousands of those trades in that pool, you've made quite a bit of money probably. And we can go as deep and complex into the weeds on how all that works that you want. But to put it simply, Snuggle technology is the most capital efficient way to do automated concentrated liquidity provisioning.
And I personally think, like, I can't think of many other UIs that are as easy to use, navigate, and understand. I know other UIs that someone had an argument with me the other day, and they literally were like, "Well, this one has way more functioning," and I was like, "Okay, maybe there's more bells and whistles, more buttons, but is it easy to use those bells and whistles?" Well,
Yeah.
they were, well, I can. Well, I probably could too, but could your average person do that? They're like,
Yeah.
well, maybe if they like want to learn about it. Again, that gets down to, does that individual want to take the time to? I do stress and think that if you want to get in the space, you should learn how each DEX operates, where the yield, where the rewards are coming from. But
Absolutely.
but at the same time, those individuals may not want to spend 10 hours a week manually snuggling every position in their portfolio.
Exactly. And you brought up a great point. My smart contracts and user interface started out very complicated, very complex. I actually started with a user interface that may have looked similar to those very overcomplicated systems. And I realized very early on, because of my software engineering background, building products that millions of people have used over the last 20 years, that most people won't use a product like that. Some will, like you said, the people who like really get into the weeds on everything, but like the majority of the people will look at it once, get overwhelmed, and just be like, nah, not doing it. So part of my design process was stripping it down to just the bare basics, just the information you want to see in a single glance. You glance at the screen, you have the main data points, and you know exactly what's going on. And there's not a whole bunch of stuff that's going to distract you, confuse you, or get you caught up in the weeds trying to do things that don't actually add any value and actually might hurt you with additional features and functions. And that is how I designed the smart contracts as well. When I first started out, I had all these bells and whistles, and not only is that distracting and overwhelming, but it opens up all sorts of different security vectors, like every different function. Like you have to have it audited. You have to be very careful, when financial transactions are involved. I just kept stripping down the smart contracts, stripping them down to the core functionality. And then I optimized and perfected those core functions. And that is how I refined Snuggle into this system that it is today that you see. And when people request new features and functions, like I am very strict about saying yes or no to these things, because first off, is it actually going to help people? Second off, is it going to confuse people? Third off, is it going to make a worse user experience for everybody involved? And fourth off, is it going to be worth the time and energy for development and the time and money for the security audits for that additional feature? So I'm very quick to say, I like the idea, I'll consider it, but probably not. Because you can add
like, the more complicated you get, the more security is going to become an issue.
Security and the potential for people to make mistakes. Like, I've built this in a way where it does its thing, Snuggle rebalancing, the best. It is the best automated Snuggle rebalancing system, period. And that's all it needs to be. Anything above and beyond that, and you're going to open up the potential for people to start trying to do too much, and they're going to hurt themselves. As crazy as that sounds, I have been teaching this stuff at a very high level for a long time to super advanced users and complete beginners. They all have the same problem where they get in the weeds, they nitpick, they they try to do too much micromanagement of all of their stuff, and they end up, it's like day trading. They end up over trading and coming out down. They end up losing. And then they get frustrated, overwhelmed, and they give up. So I'm like, how can I make this so easy? They can click 2 or 3 buttons and they are earning and they never have to touch it again. And it'll just auto correct itself with the impermanent loss. It offsets it with the compounding system. The Snuggle rebalancing automatically reduces that impermanent loss by about 50%. It takes out all the hidden costs of concentrated liquidity management, all the swap fees, all the slippage, price impact, MEV extraction. It takes all of that off. They don't even have to deal with it. They don't even have to know about it, but they're getting those capital efficiency benefits, and they can set it and forget it and just click, click, click. They're earning money while they sleep for as long as they want.
I mean, it doesn't sound much better than that. Now, the only questions I've ever had from anybody in the DeFi space, individuals I know who are actually establishing positions on SnuggleFi or considering using, is they ask about security, they ask about audits, they ask about, well, what happens if the front end goes down? How do I get my positions out? Things like, of course, I also don't think that everybody reads everything that they should within like white papers of projects or user manuals and the like. But I mean, I've also not been the best at that. Like my wife would tell you completely different. Like I'm not going to look at the instructions like I should. I'll probably look at the diagram and, but I'm also not the engineer. I'm an educator.
Yeah. Well, security is the most important thing out here. I put security above all else, even before user experience, functionality. Like it has to be secure. So when I first built this, and this has taken me about a year, almost a year and a half now. But before I even put this on the blockchain for my own personal use, before I ever made this public, I went through about 30 different internal audits using all the best auditing tools, testing tools, and every audit, I incrementally increased it security-wise every single time, increased the efficiency, increased the security. Then when it came time to launch, I had about half a dozen independent security researchers go through it. None of them could find any vulnerabilities that would affect user funds in any way. Some of them found some gas optimization things that I can do internally as a business owner, but nothing critical. So I had that further validation. Then I went and I hired one of the best security auditing firms in the space right now, Valve's Security. They're out here crushing all of the big security audit competitions. Like they're the best at what they do. They are sharks. They are white hat hackers. And other companies hire them for special jobs. They're that good. So I went to them and I said, try to hack Snuggle. Let me know what you find. They did a full audit on it. They have the best automated tools, first off, the best automated testing systems, but they also go line by line through every single piece of code. This is over 6,500 lines of code. They went through every single line. It took them weeks. They did such an amazing job. They found some really cool tweaks and things I can do to make it even more efficient, especially on the gas side, which we pay the gas for all the rebalances for all the users. So like that comes out of our pocket. That comes out of my pocket. Like I am paying to rebalance thousands of positions. I'm paying hundreds of dollars a day at this point to rebalance.
But to me, that's someone who like believes in their project, believes in their work.
Yeah. And I that's another cost I wanted to take away from the user having to worry about. They just put it in their principle and it goes. So anyway, Valve Security said this is one of the most secure protocols they've ever seen. And they've been so great to work with. I can't say enough good things about them. But they liked it so much, they immediately decided after they finished their audit to put their own money in here. So even our security auditing company is using Snuggle and MAXFi for their liquidity positions now. So
That's great. That's great.
I thought that was really cool. And if you
And the fact
saw,
that the audit like saved you money on the gas,
big
right?
time, big time.
Okay, that's amazing.
They found some they recommended some things that I was aware of, but they really showed me, like, at the rate that we're scaling, that my gas costs for rebalancing become astronomical. And it snuck up on me quick because I didn't expect this to be so popular. I didn't expect
I've
thousands.
definitely already heard you say that in one of your earlier AMAs.
And
Definitely.
I'm freaking out, like, oh my God, how am I going to pay for all these rebalances? Um, and as you saw about a day and a half ago, I mean, dude, I work around the clock on this, and I took what they recommended and I implemented it. I deployed a new rebalancing system, the infrastructure, all the main smart contracts are untouched, but my rebalancing system, I completely rebuilt from the ground up with their guidance, and it has cut my rebalancing costs in half at least. And
50%.
at least. And the more time goes by, like, I'm getting more data on the true costs of it, and it's coming down big time. One of those things was implementing a $50 minimum position size. So as you've probably seen recently, we had to implement a $50 minimum position size to, for the benefit of everybody. And then also some of their recommendations, working with them, we figured out some ways to make the rebalancing almost instantaneous. So before,
Yeah, I noticed there was a slight delay.
there was a lag,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
and it kept growing with the more users that were joining, and I would have to roll out a new chain link rebalancer every time we would gain another 300 or 400 positions. It was a big process, cost a lot of money. With this new system I built, it can just scale without affecting the rebalancing timing. So as soon as you're beyond your rebalance delay, let's say you have a 1 hour rebalance delay, you go out of range, it waits for 1 hour, like you have programmed it. And then within 1 to 2 minutes after that, boom, you're rebalanced. Versus at one point it was like a 30-minute lag time, and the network congestion made it worse. So now it's blazing fast, it's more cost efficient, and we're going to be able to scale with this explosive growth for the next 50 to 100,000 users that join before I have to do my next major upgrade to that system, which is already planned out.
Now, this is I'm going to pivot a little bit, but I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be interested in what you have to say about this. And but at what point did you realize that this technology um would become the foundation of a AI powered DeFi agent? Because the agent max narrative, like I'm excited about this one. I really am. What you're building with this, and I kind of want you to explain where the idea came from, why you would even consider combining AI and liquidity management. I honestly already know the answer for that one, but I kind of want you to explain it to the community, and then also why an AI agent and not some other product, or let's scratch that. What makes Agent Max different than other agents? I mean, we haven't had a lot of DeFi agents out there. That narrative kind of fizzled out pretty quick
Yeah.
last cycle. I was on that a little bit, but why Agent Max? Why have her use MAXFi? What's the value thesis?
Awesome question. So in this day and age, almost everybody uses AI to some extent to help them with whatever they're doing, whether that's with their accounting, with their taxes, or if you're a software engineer, for development or for marketing, for business, whatever you're doing, for recipes in the kitchen. I mean, everybody is using AI for the most part to enhance their capabilities. It's like the search engine. When the search engine first came out, all of a sudden you had all the information in the world at your fingertips. Now you have the best analytical tool for pattern recognition, data crunching, writing simulations at our fingertips. And we have seen this narrative spring up recently in crypto and DeFi, like you said. And a lot of it was hype. A lot of the projects that I saw were based on promises that never came to fruition. And they said, our AI agent's going to do this, this, and this to make money. And then it never makes any money and the project flops, or they just never even build it. They say it's going to do this or that, but they never actually build it. I have been working day and night for weeks. Even I've been working on Agent Max for months, but the past few weeks since we did our seed round, I have been going through all of Agent Max's reports that she sends me, hundreds of pages. I print them out because I stare at the computer all day. This helps my eyes. I can take her reports outside. They're 10 pages long each, and I go through them. And what makes this different than how I was doing things before was I had to do all of this work as a financial analyst, looking at different pools on the blockchain, and I would look at multiple different metrics to evaluate if they would be good candidates for me to add to my liquidity provisioning portfolio. And then I would have to do further technical analysis at that point to determine the optimal range, width, and delay settings that I would use for my positions. And I can do all of that at a very high level, like never before, with the help of an AI agent running on the most advanced LLMs, large language models, that are out there right now. The results are absolutely incredible. The pools that she's finding and comparing, even the same pairs, but across different dexes on different fee tiers, it might be a different pool you might not be looking at. She will find those, surface them, run the numbers on them, backtest them over hundreds of days, and say, this pool is a monster. It vastly outperforms hodling the assets themselves, and it absolutely outperforms impermanent loss by the fees that it earns, which is what I'm always looking for. I'm always looking in liquidity provisioning to earn more than the impermanent loss cost me. And now I don't have to worry about any of the other hidden costs with rebalancing thanks to Snuggle technology. So pairing an AI agent with Snuggle technology means my AI agent can do all of the heavy lifting on the analysis, the investigatory work, finding those pools, those opportunities across thousands and thousands of pools on base chain alone. It can go through every single one of them, run all of her simulations on them, run all of the back tests, and say, this is the one out of all of them, this is the best performer. Then she can say, based on this pool and based on how the liquidity is distributed in that pool, it can run her next level of simulations on it to test out every single range width and every single rebalance delay setting in a matrix of tens of thousands of possibilities, and come up with the optimum range width and delay setting for the optimal pool. And then it takes it a step further. Then she says, based on the current market we are in, the current market regime, you would want to run it this way with this strategy. And then when the market starts switching based on these metrics, you're going to want to switch to this setting. Usually, if it gets choppier or something happens, it'll say, okay, change the range width, make it a little wider, increase the delay on the rebalance. And it has all of those rules laid out, full plans for every month going forward for years. I mean, the technical analysis and projections alone and the portfolio allocation strategies alone are incredible. And then I've taken that in the step further with the analysis of all of the pools on base chain, finding the absolute gems, and then finding the optima on those gems, finding the optimal settings for range width and delay. When you combine all of that together, you have an absolute monster of a product, a tool if you will, that will not only be able to help manage this portfolio, Agent Max's portfolio, following all of those guidelines and recommendations with full reasoning behind all of it, which will all be published on the Agent Max page for each position and the full strategy. But then she will be able to, when I say she, I will add onto her page the ability to copy her positions. So these gems that she finds and these optimal strategies on these gems of pools, you can just click a button and it'll take you to the deposit page with that pool selected and those settings dialed in already. And then you just click approve, submit, boom, you have copied her position that you like. You like her reasoning for that pool, why she's chosen that in this current market with those current settings. Click, you're in that position now. You don't even need to buy her token if you don't want to. You can,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you don't like tokens or speculating, which by the way, I chose the token model because I can further leverage the potential here with a token because of the hype and speculation behind it. So not only will it have what would be considered a NAV, if you will, a baseline portfolio value, but it can go extremely above that based on demand, based on hype, speculation, other people buying in because they believe in the project. So the token could see multiples, we've seen what successful AI agent projects have done. Some of them are in the billions of dollars of market cap now. So that is why I've positioned Agent Max as a token, but also for people who don't like tokens and they just like LP farming, they could just copy click her positions and just copy trade all of her LPs in one click.
Again, a project for everybody.
Yeah. I want to make this as easy as possible, but at the same time, I want to make it easy with the greatest chance of success for people because it's complicated stuff we're doing out here. And if I can simplify that down as much as possible, and it just adds so much value to somebody's life to be able to say, hey, you just saved me 300 hours of research and work and time. I just had to click a button. And the cool thing with Snuggle and MAXFi, if you don't like your position for whatever reason, you could just click, no withdrawal taxes, nothing like that. There's no lockup periods. It's just like come and go as you please, change your settings, change your strategies, find what works best for you. And if you don't know what works best, Agent Max will be the perfect starting point based on literal mountains of data that I have combed through that she has put together. And this will all be available to users of Snuggle and MAXFi.
That's so it's amazing. I'm telling you that like it sounds like you have created like a DeFi hedge fund run by a female who we can just follow her choices and you're probably going to do okay. Probably going to do better than most out there because most of the people at this game are doing exactly what you said earlier. They're short ranges, over trading, too many decisions. They're doing too much.
Yeah.
And anyone I talk to, any person who's reached out to me, each of them have said the same thing. I'm trying to learn, but at the same time, I'm doing too much and I don't understand.
Yes. And
I feel like I'm following what everybody else is doing. Well, there's your problem. There's your problem.
Yeah. I mean, people react emotionally to the markets and the volatility. And based on sound strategies with back testing to support your strategies across similar volatile periods, you can find, based on the data, that if the market moves one way or the other, your position over time comes out ahead. And that's what I want to simplify for people. I want to take the emotion out of it. So that way they're not basically selling low and buying high repeatedly like people do when they try to day trade. They let their emotions take over. And that's why like 95% of traders fail and lose money and blow up their accounts after like 6 months. With LP farming, there's a similar kind of discipline needed, to be able to hold a position through the volatility and let the system do its work. Let those fees outpace any impermanent loss and far outperform just hodling those assets, holding those assets in your wallet. And that's why I built it this way. And that's why Agent Max is going to be so important, because it'll have full detailed reasoning reports for everything she's doing. So if somebody does get wishy-washy, they start hem and hawing, and they're emotionally driven to maybe do the wrong thing at the wrong time, that could hurt them or cost them money, they can go through Agent Max's reasoning for why this position is running currently and what the outlook is potentially over a period of time. And they might say, oh, I'm totally fine, just let it keep going. And then in a few days later, they look and they're like, oh, wow, I'm up on that position still. Oh, and it's still going up. That's what I want to help people overcome.
I get it. But so Agent Max is already earning yield, already generating revenue for
Yes.
herself.
Yes.
Well, I think one of the big questions that many people would have is how does Agent Max actually generate revenue? I would love for you to walk us through her business model, or what I've heard you all call the flywheel. But I
Yeah.
mean, that's what we're always looking for. Let's flywheel this, you know.
All right. I'll try to make this as simple as possible. Her revenue model is liquidity farming. She earns fees and rewards from liquidity farming just like we do on a portfolio of her choice with the most advanced analytics and backtesting tools you've ever seen at this point. I'll share some of that stuff with you. It'll absolutely blow you away.
Love to see it.
So her revenue model is the best liquidity farming system and portfolio imaginable. It takes all of the yield that it makes. It takes half of that yield and compounds it back into her farming portfolio to keep it growing, keep it healthy. And then it takes the other half of that yield and she buys the Agent Max token off of the open market and sends it to the dead address, aka burns it or retires those tokens from the circulating supply forever, making her Agent Max token deflationary. There will only ever be 1 billion Agent Max tokens in existence. They're already in existence. There can be no more minted. The smart contract has no minting function, nothing like that. No owner controlled functions on the token itself. The token can only deflate in supply. Now, based on supply and demand, that means if demand stays the same or goes up, which it will, because we're going to go on a massive marketing campaign over the next couple months, the price of the Agent Max token theoretically should go up based on the theory of economics. And then on top of that, part of the flywheel is she will also be liquidity farming her own liquidity pool, Agent Max / wrapped ETH. So when you launch a token, you have to provide the initial liquidity for people to be able to buy and sell that token. So she will be the one who owns that liquidity position. That protocol owned liquidity will be hers. And what she does is it'll be like all of these other AI agent tokens that launch. They all launch with a 1% fee tier. So people are buying and selling Agent Max token. 1% of each one of those swaps or trades goes back to Agent Max as additional revenue. She is just accumulating more Agent Max tokens and more wrapped ETH. And she's compounding half of that back into the liquidity pool, deepening the liquidity further. So she'll just constantly be deepening that liquidity pool, adding more wrapped ETH to it while removing Agent Max tokens from it and sending them to the burn address. So that's the other piece of the flywheel. And then it just goes in circles.
So she has instructions, or like you have coded her to where she what is her goal when she is managing her portfolio? making market decisions and also managing her own liquidity position?
So her goal, first and foremost, is to protect the value of her portfolio. So that includes a well-diversified portfolio across mostly blue chip assets, Bitcoin pairs, Bitcoin slash USDC, wrapped ETH slash Bitcoin, and some of the major altcoins that are very established. And then a very small allocation to a couple degen plays, just for that boost, but nothing that would, if one of those tokens crashed, would hurt the portfolio at all.
Right.
So first off is diversification, asset selection to protect the portfolio. So maintaining and growing the portfolio, her farming wallet is goal number one. If that is working well, then the rest of the flywheel works well. So then her next goal is to buy and burn as many Agent Max tokens as possible, just as fast as possible. Those are her two goals, basically, is maintain the best farming portfolio and use that to burn as many of the Agent Max tokens as possible, reduce the circulating supply as small as possible, so that way they become more valuable.
So based on her current performance, I mean, that flywheel should already be like slightly amped up.
Big time. And we are preparing to deploy the rest of the capital from the seed round we did. So she currently, for the past month or two, has been 2 months, has been using my own money. I always, in software development, we call it eat your own dog food. I put my money where my mouth is. I put my own money into my own products because I believe in them. And that's why I built them, because I actually use them. So I had Agent Max managing one of my wallets, essentially. And her performance was extraordinary. Her first test run over 2 months, she started with $12,000. And even though the market went down significantly over that time, she maintained or even added to that value. And then on top of that, earned almost like $700, $800 additionally in fees. So her performance was exceptional, especially given the market context. Now extrapolate that and scale that up with $100,000. Now she's going to be able to do 10x that as her next showcase. And that showcase will be running through her entire pre-sale. So people will be able to see her in action with $100,000 portfolio doing exactly what she does best. And that is what we're going to use as our showcase for the pre-sale leading up to her launch. Unlike other AI agent tokens that launch on empty promises, based on a product that they haven't even built yet, I already built Agent Max, and now I am just dialing her in, upgrading her, optimizing her to make her even better at what she already does great. So we're going to be the first AI agent coming out with a proven revenue model to fully facilitate her business model, which is buy Agent Max token and burn it, decrease the supply of the token, increase the value per token. And that's why I think this could be the biggest AI agent token launch that we've seen yet.
I'm absolutely excited, and on top of that, I'm actually curious to see what she's going to choose.
Dude,
a lot of times
man.
I'm already going through, like, if I saw a new choice, I'm like, okay, why, and I start looking at the pool myself.
I got it right here. I got it right here. She's got her new selections picked, and
that's awesome. That's exciting.
Yeah. So these pools are monsters, and if you run the right strategies on them, they are just incredible. And it's just going to cut through all that noise for people. It's going to be a very simple portfolio of blue chip, altcoin, and a little bit of meme coin degen stuff. but they're all going to be established tokens or have the best reasoning behind why they've been chosen. And the numbers on these pools are absolutely crazy. So get ready. That's coming very soon. By the time this video comes out, it'll probably already be up on the website running live with the new portfolio. I'm excited because I'm also going to copy all of her positions.
I think a lot of people are going to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's the most advanced liquidity farming discovery and analysis tool ever made. I've been teaching this at such a high level for so long on the forefront of the liquidity provisioning space. For the last few years, I have been on the cutting edge of this, teaching the most advanced techniques and tools. There's nothing else out there like this. Nobody has built anything close to this. It's going to absolutely melt faces, blow minds, blow socks off of people. It's going to
bring some more young blood into DeFi. I really do.
I think so. And I think if I make it easy enough for people to participate and experience it with a low barrier of entry, then we will only grow the DeFi space faster. We'll have more user adoption across the entire space, which only benefits all of us.
Well, let's look ahead, like not just 6 months from now, but maybe like end of the year, 3 to 5 years out, like as far as Agent Max, and we can talk Snuggle or MaxFi also, but Agent Max specifically, what does success look like? Like what milestones are you all shooting for as a team? And is there anything cooking in, the roadmap that, people might be interested in hearing about that they may not know yet?
Yes. So first off, if you aren't already in the Snuggle and MaxFi Discord servers, go join those. That is where I make most of the announcements about new pools, new system upgrades, and things like that as I develop at a blazing fast pace. We're rolling out upgrades and new pools all the time. Second off, Agent Max, what does success look like for Agent Max specifically? Well, I am hoping for a $10 million portfolio by year 5, doing close to $20,000 of buy and burns a day, and having a drastically reduced supply of the token. I am shooting for a market cap in the hundreds of millions by that point. So that's the goal for Agent Max. This is a very long-term project. I have 6 month, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year goals and roadmaps all laid out, and I'm going to do my best to hit those. And nothing is guaranteed. A lot of this stuff is going to be based on projections and things like that. So always do your own research, yada, 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 risk disclosures, etc. All right. So, but the potential is huge. And we've seen what these other tokens have done and so many of these other tokens have done hundreds of millions of dollars of market cap, and they were operated horribly. Like their operational level was very poor, and a lot of them were based on smoke and mirrors with no substance behind them. So we're flipping the model entirely. We are coming with real substance right out of the gate, a real revenue model, real earning potential, going right into the buybacks and the burns. And that over 1 to 5 years, the potential based on projections could be phenomenal. And I can't really say any specific numbers or anything like that.
Yeah, of course. I've looked at some of the projection charts in the white paper, and I mean, yeah, some of them are impressive. I'm not going to state them here, read for yourself, but yeah.
And I believe in my product. So I am buying the tokens myself personally with my own money, and I will be holding those tokens personally for the long haul. And her success means my success. So
Right.
I have all of the incentive aligned to run this with operational excellence, just like I've been doing with Snuggle and MAXFi to the best of my ability. I take this responsibility very seriously, especially when other people's money is involved. You can ask anybody in the community, anybody I work with. I don't take shortcuts, and I do everything as properly as possible. And with Snuggle and MAXFi specifically, there's a lot coming in the future. Some of the big things on our near-term roadmap are going to be new blockchains. We are going to be rolling out to Binance Smart Chain soon, and Ethereum. One of the reasons we had to delay that a little bit was because of the gas optimization issues that I recently have solved thanks to the help of many people, including the auditors at Valve Security. So with the increased gas optimizations, we should be able to now do Snuggle rebalancing at scale like we're doing on Base Chain and Arbitrum Chain currently, on Binance Smart Chain, and even on Ethereum Chain, where the gas prices are much higher. So we needed to crack the code on gas efficiency from a business perspective to make this technology viable for everybody over on Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum. That's coming next. And then after that, Solana.
Oh, Solana. I'm actually excited about Ethereum because snuggling is what I started doing with Ethereum positions.
You have to.
Honestly, because I knew I couldn't save on my redeployment, but I could save by not swapping as much. And sometimes I'm like, I do not want to swap right now. Gas is up. I mean, if you've been in the space long enough, you've experienced Ethereum gas fees, but
yes, it's crazy. I mean, even now, when those gas spikes happen, you could be spending 10, 20, 30, 40 bucks still on a transaction. And because of that, you can imagine the gas costs for rebalancing thousands of positions. So we are dialing all of the economics in for the gas economics. And that is now going to be able to go to Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum. So that's really exciting. Additionally, something we've been working on, me and a few other people, Dow King, he's my partner over at MAXFi. He's a great business strategist, marketing guru. Like, he's a brilliant guy, great friend of mine. I've known him for over 5 years. He is helping me design the business model for allowing other people to duplicate the success we've had with Agent Max for themselves. So if somebody has a great idea for an AI agent that does liquidity farming, we are going to make the best launchpad possible for AI agents based on Agent Max's playbook that we have put together now. So at first, it'll probably be just for a few trusted people. We'll walk through the process because you don't just want anybody at first launching on these launch pads. That's how rugs happen. Random people try to take advantage of the situation. So
right.
At first, it will be a highly vetted thing with people that are at a certain trust rating personally and in the community, who will be able to utilize this launchpad. And the benefit of this launchpad compared to all the others is we're not going to do what Virtuals or Banker does on their launchpad, which is they take 30% off the top of everything. So your token goes up, it generates revenue, they take 30%. They also do forced selling. So Virtuals, for instance, when you only find this out if you dive into the code like I did when I was about to launch Agent Max on Virtuals, and I decided against it because of these reasons. They do forced selling of the token at certain fully diluted values, FDVs of like 2 million, 2.5, 4, 5, 10. They just start aggressively selling the token without any discretion or consideration for what is happening to the project, and it'll just crush the momentum of those projects, which can kill them, especially if they're hype and speculation based without anything actually generating revenue behind them.
Right.
So we're flipping that model entirely. We're going to allow creators, developers, engineers, crypto enthusiasts who are highly trusted to run the same playbook with Agent Max, from raising money all the way to deploying the funds, to operationally, security wise, and to do it in the best way possible without extracting the value from the project like those other launch pads do. And instead, we're going to feed that back into the projects themselves to help increase their chances of success.
See, when I hear that, and I've had this conversation with a couple people within my own community, it's almost like, because the launchpad discussion came up in one of the earlier AMAs, and to me, it's almost like you're trying to find a path that brings that launchpad and makes it more accessible to retail, to the smaller guys who aren't behind the scenes, or at least trying to build something that could make that a better possibility, a bigger possibility, more likely to happen.
Yes. And the projects that launch on it will help cut through the noise. Banker, I think, has had 16,000 plus projects launched on it. 99.99% have failed. And many of them were rug pulls, things like that. So if we keep this, at least at first, selective, we can increase the trust rating. We can reduce the likelihood of rug pulls and exploits. And then we can also help basically give white glove hand holding service to these project owners and walk them through the whole process, from development to deployment to marketing to fundraising and everything in between.
Wow. So, whether someone chooses to, become a part of Agent Max or not, why should they pay attention? Even if they're like, this isn't a project for me, why should they pay attention to Agent Max?
Awesome question. Because we are doing something revolutionary. This has never been done before. We are on the forefront of financial technology and computer science. We are merging DeFi at its finest, which is LP farming, with AI technology, which is exploding right now as we head closer and closer to the singularity. And every week we see things that would be considered magic with AI technology. It is just absolute magic. And they should pay attention to Agent Max just out of curiosity, to see a DeFi experiment on the cutting edge using revolutionary technology for something that could be worth a lot of money, that could be very valuable. And it can pave the way for other things to come. So that's why they should pay attention.
Well, I'd like to thank you, and I appreciate you taking like over an hour of your time. I mean, you're like me, you're a family man, so I know that you're busy, and I also know that the night hours tend to be your working time, which is when we're recording this thing. But
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Alex, so much that you would even consider.
Thank you so much, Kevin. I am honored to be on your show. I've been a fan of yours for years, and I highly recommend.
Hi, that was an accident.
Hey, what's up, Calvin?
I just want to say thank you for having me on your show, and I'm honored to be here. I've been a fan of yours for many years. I've read your blog for years, and I hope you continue writing and educating people, not only, for yourself, as you said, to master these concepts, but because you are genuinely providing such value to people. on a very complicated industry and space that we're in, very advanced technologies and concepts, and you're helping break that down for people to understand. So I thank you for teaching, for helping, and for building and test driving Snuggle and MAXFi. I am so honored that you use the system I built. I couldn't be happier.
Well, I appreciate.
First and foremost, because it provides value to others.
I can end this recording. What am I doing? Hold on.
Oh, that's okay.
But also because it helps me